business analyst in financial tech. I kept getting laid off because I was focused on comedy, or companies would get sold or whatever, and then just focused on comedy full time.
Well, how many years ago did you start that, the focusing on comedy?
I got into stand-up in 2014. I had been serious about comedy in general before that, but I started doing stand-up in 2014. So I've done stand-up for 6 years. In 2018, I got laid off for the final time, and then I started doing freelance tutoring and comedy.
Nice. So when you started comedy, what was that like? Take me through the experiences. I write a little comedy myself, so I love talking to
Oh,
people.
awesome.
Look at it. It's nothing near ready to go up on stage or anything, but taking that first step, everyone talks about how they like bombed their first time. Did you bomb? Was it nerve
I
wracking?
took a class in 2010, and then so it was a class graduation show. None of the people in it became comics except for me. So I was one of the funnier people, so I did well. But I bombed at mics for years after that.
Yeah. So, how do you take that, bombing and are still able to go home and kind of talk yourself back into getting back up there?
You have to want to do stand-up really badly and just keep going. You keep getting on stage. Yeah. So the thing that makes you a comic is the willingness to get on stage every day. But that's pre-pandemic. Now it's a little more complicated.
Okay. Now, you recently, you blew up on TikTok, man. How did it feel? How did it feel to, you made it?
Amazing.
I was watching one of them and you're like, been doing comedy for 10 years and you're like, nobody gave a shit about what I say, but it took one one thing on TikTok and now everyone listens to me.
Yeah, exactly. That was the live. Oh, yeah. The lives I really go. Yeah, people like TikTok or have it should go to my lives. Yeah. TikTok's very misunderstood. Obviously, the most popular accounts are the dancing and Charlie D'Amelio, but it's just a video platform. The video could be anything. So you can put a video of you telling a joke. I was like, it's March 2020. There's no more stand-up. I'm going to put a joke a day on Instagram. And Instagram is a terrible platform for making content. So what I did is I started taping them in TikTok, and the first one got like 150,000 views. Then the second one got 300,000 views. And then I'm just like, I'll put my best joke out there. And that got like 1 million views in like 2 days. And then overall like 2 million views. And it turned out the day after I posted it, I might have had COVID. And I tell a longer version of the story on a pod called Story Collider that's coming out in January. But yeah, so I just post, and then I'm like, okay, so I'm making this content at home because I was just saying the jokes in my office. No production value, obviously no audience.
Right.
And and people were into it, so I just kept going. And there wasn't I didn't do stand-up again, till June. And I've only done it like off and on since then.
Are they back in live? You're in New York, right? You go to the comedy clubs in New York?
The comedy clubs were all closed, but there was a lot of outside shows. Stand-up New York did a huge amount of park shows. And I'm past there, so I did a good amount. I did about a dozen or more spots with them over the summer in different parks.
Okay. How long, park show, I'm assuming what? Probably 6 feet apart, all that fun stuff.
It's outside. People are at a park show. People are on blankets with people they know, people that you assume they're quarantining with. And then the blankets are 6 feet apart. And people can wear a mask or have a drink, whatever. As a comic, you're not going up to anybody. And it's outside, so the risk is generally lower. These were also in the summer, and the COVID numbers were pretty low in New York.
Okay.
If COVID's spiking, a park show might be unsafe. But our testing rate was like 1% positive at that point, and it was outside, so I don't think any COVID really got spread by the park shows.
Does that, to you, does it change the dynamic at all? So like, I know a lot of comedians and I listen to Joe Rogan and other comedic podcasts, and they talk a lot about how having the energy and the laughter and having a room fill adds to your adds to your set. Now having them, times being the way they are, maybe less people are there, maybe there's more smaller groups that are farther apart. Do you feel like it changes the dynamic of what you're doing at all?
So yeah, the outside comedy's harder. It's worse. It's just you want low ceilings and no distractions. Okay, so you're in the park. Obviously, there's no ceiling. I'm even distracted because the view is so beautiful. You're at a park a little before dusk. It's gorgeous. One time, an Amtrak came by, another outside show. There's a subway. There could be a guy on a motorcycle. There was a guy on a bike in Prospect Park, and he's balancing a soccer ball on his head, and he goes right behind me. But luckily, he went behind where I would have been actually, and the host killed time until he left.
I couldn't imagine trying to like do a skin. You just got some dude behind you freaking
And the
doing.
worst thing is that they were like, this guy's popular on TikTok. And then obviously the bike guy with the soccer ball in his head would be way more popular than me on TikTok. Because that's something everyone can appreciate. Stand-up comedy is a little more niche.
Yeah. Do you do you incorporate a lot of you being Jewish in your stand-up comedy? Do you how does that, I guess, do you find it easier to relate and make those and make jokes more dedicated to you being Jewish? Is it more because it relates to your experience, or do you just find them funnier? Or like, I guess why do you choose that route?
They do better. It's unfortunate. I'm not religious. I'm
Right.
very Jewish looking. But it happens to be that some of the jokes I've had that either work the best, especially in the internet, are Jewish jokes. It might also be fewer people can do them
Yeah, yeah. A few
because
people can do them.
now in New York, a huge amount of people are Jewish, but in the whole TikTok world, most of the Jewish people are in New York or maybe Israel or whatever. So you got it's a niche.
Gotcha. Yeah, and I
And
told you my girlfriend's Jewish, so
oh, also,
know a little bit. That was a hot button topic last night on your live, man. Everyone was so curious about Israel and Palestine.
yeah, that's the problem because there's no funny part as a comedian, right? There's no positive part to that stuff. Also, people are very polarized, and it's just an issue. If the more you think about it, the sadder you get. I'm not an expert on it. I am Jewish. I have been to Israel, but then I become pretty liberal and learned a lot about the Palestinian experience. So then I feel a lot of sympathy towards that. So there's just no answers.
Right, right. It's tough. I've heard from my girlfriend and her side of the family, the whole Israel side of things. And then like I told you that I went to a barber and he's claiming asylum here from Palestine. And like he's just like, says he just was like basically is like, I have to like fill out documents if I want to go to the beach. And it's like, why can't I just go to the
Mm.
beach? And like that's a crazy different perspective on things.
It is actually interesting. Conservatives in America, many are mad about mask mandates, but then the kind of mandates Israel puts on Palestine would completely upset them if it affected them. So that's an interesting point.
I think the conservatives in America have become an interesting group of people. You know,
I mean, I see it as a big problem. The Republican Party kind of keeps America from doing a lot of things that I think would benefit people.
well, in almost, these people, especially with the times the way they are now, and Trump not wanting to leave the White House and stuff like that, it's almost like they're just adding fuel to the fire too. You know what I mean? Like, there's not like hey, there's certain groups out there in small towns that are like yelling at people on the streets, right? And like, no one's like, hey, like maybe we shouldn't yell and attack people on the streets. Maybe we shouldn't do giant parade marches with assault rifles down the middle of the road just because we can. Like, you know what I mean?
It's threatening. Yeah. I mean, the word assault is in the name of the rifle. So, and I know it gets complicated with what gun is an assault rifle or not, but yeah, if you're walking through the streets with a powerful gun, that could be scary to people.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I don't I guess me personally, so I never grew up with guns, and I don't understand And you know, to each their own, right? I don't understand the need for it though, right? Even if you want to claim hunting, self-defense, I just don't know when was the last time, or is there a time that you're going to have, you know, what enemy troops drop down in front of your house and you're going to need to defend yourself like that.
You're not going to be able to fight a modern army, even with the best gun you could buy. The things is there's sports, you know, hunting's a
Right.
sport, shooting of other like clay or targets. There's many sports with hunting. Totally get that. And I mean, the people talk about the home invasion. I
Right.
mean, you know, I get it in general, but you don't probably need an assault rifle for that. So I would never want a gun in my house because I know the person who's getting shot is me.
I honestly, I feel you on that one. I don't know a damn thing, and I know like my friend. I have a friend that talks about it, and he's like, "Dude, I don't want a gun. Like, I don't know. Like, push comes to shove, I'm gonna grab that thing and like hold it backwards or something by accident because I'm just so nervous about the action that's going on."
And that's what the gun people can add is that if you are getting a gun, you should get trained, just
Right?
like
Yeah.
anything else.
People just buy them everywhere.
Not ideal. I also realized that I think it hurts your hand when you fire. I'm a weenie. So I definitely would need gloves and stuff. Like I want to go shoot a gun, you know, at a range because shooting guns at ranges is
Yeah.
not a violent activity, and I don't believe it's dangerous.
You're like,
If it's
hold
yeah,
up, Robert. Let me go put my gloves on and then add my protective glasses on, and then we'll come
oh,
back.
that's a good point. But yeah, I think it hurts your hand. I'm worried that I'm going to try to fire it and it's going to hurt my hand. I'm going to drop it, and what if it goes off again? There's all kinds of logistical issues. You could injure yourself in an accident if you don't know what you're doing. You need the proper training to use a gun.
Right, it's like start to finish through the process. You can get injured. It's highest risk amount of like getting injuring yourself.
The problem with the guns is that if you have one in the house, now I mean I don't have problems with feeling suicidal, but if you feel suicidal even one day, you can kill yourself. And that's why more guys die of suicide. And then because you people just kill themselves because, and if they didn't have a gun in the house, they might have talked themselves out of it, or that kind of stuff does affect the suicide rate, whether or not you have a gun in your house.
Well, the crazy thing about it too, and I mean, I guess you shouldn't, in a weird way, I don't want to like prioritize suicides, but like there is no opportunity to save someone from a gunshot like to the head, right? Like
Um,
if someone hangs themselves or is going to jump, like there's that split moments before it happens or while it's happening that you still could like save the person, right? Like, you know, in a sense, like when people hang themselves, they often kick something under their feet. Well, if you can get in and get under their feet, like you can save that person. I can't save you from a bullet to the head, right? I can't like try to figure it out that it's like over. That's like it. That's the clear cut decision.
yeah, it's either the doctor or the emergency room does some kind of miracle or you die. So yeah, suicide, I don't know the magnitude, but you know, it's one of the preventable causes of death. So as a society, like if there's ways to prevent suicide, that's a good thing to do.
Yeah. Do you think so? You were an analyst. Do you think uh, pressures that are being put on, and honestly there's tons of statistics that show the amount of hours and the amount of pay keep lessening for people, the amount of pay keeps lessening, the amount of hours keep going up for people in the workforce, honestly in the capitalist society, in the workforce, you know, in today's world
Mm.
people work more hours and make less when you adjust for the inflation.
Oh yeah, now I didn't analyze the economy. I analyzed like how to improve like the systems, but I'll still opine on it. But yeah, not as a financial analyst. Um, the word analyst is overused. These industries overuse words. Um, so yeah, it is an issue with the employers having more power, the rich getting richer, all that. I think it's a long term trend since Reagan. We've just been more pro business, lower taxes for the rich, and it's created the wealth. It's created the wealth gap. Also, I believe we didn't even have a national debt before Reagan of any significance. So yeah, Reagan, you can look at him as a president who started a lot of bad things, the drug war,
Right.
um, et cetera. But basically, when you look back at Reagan, he was great at speaking. People loved him at the time, but a lot of bad trends started by Reagan. Makes you think a little worse of his presidency when you learn a little more about it.
Right. And I think, I mean, I don't know, someone can call me on American history, but I want to say Clinton. outside of whatever else he was doing in the White House, actually got the debt down and like it took a substantial cut on the debt. And then Bush went right back into it and just fucking hammered it. It was like full
Yeah.
throttle.
So what Clinton did, there's a big problem is there's debt and deficit.
Yeah.
Deficit is the yearly budget. There was when you have more money at the end of the year, if you're the government or anybody, that's a surplus. Clinton had a surplus. Great stuff. But we overall had a big debt from the Reagan times. So let's say like 1983 to 1998, we had piled up this humongous debt, and now it's way bigger. Now that's another 20 years. But in Clinton's years, the government was getting more tax dollars than they were spending. So they had a surplus. And there's a famous SNL bit about it. Al Gore wanted to put it in a lockbox, which is the least sexy thing, for Social Security and Medicare. And Bush said, no, I'm giving it back to you guys as a tax cut. So we all got $600 from Bush. And I believe actually rich people might have got more money. And they gave us back the surplus. He said it was our money, which it was.
Yeah.
But then since then, we haven't had a surplus of any significance as far as I know.
That's crazy. It's crazy to think about. We talk all the time, because Al Gore pushed a lot of the green ideas too, right? It's
Oh,
crazy to
sure.
think, like, if he would have won that election, we might have had electric vehicles. Tesla might have been a thing 10 years ago. And who knows where we'd be at technologically.
It would be good. The thing with Gore is it is possible that the president who was in office could have prevented 9/11 because there was some intelligence on it.
Right.
And also the biggest thing with Bush is he did the Iraq war. That was the thing he pushed. It wasn't something that organically would have come up in another administration. And the Iraq war was a huge disaster. And that's why people argue for Bush as being one of the worst presidents ever because of the Iraq war. That's his biggest failure.
Yeah, dude's not an intelligent human being. Now,
oh yeah, people would always say he was dumb. I think he was above average, but he wasn't as smart as some of the presidents. I don't think he was like the Will Ferrell character was kind of a dumb person. I think he was still a decently smart person, but just not a top intellectual among presidents.
Okay, yeah, even like Family Guy, right? Family Guy, they reference Bush, and he's like was it treehouse, and he's like reading super
yeah. Oh yeah. Now, I've read stuff actually because during 9/11, he's reading this My Pet Goat thing the second he finds out, and people insulted for how he reacted to that. Like he took another second before he left, but other people in his administration pointed out he stayed calm and he didn't create a panic. And I mean, the administration did deal with it afterwards. So the My Pet Goat thing when he found out about 9/11, maybe a little overrated. That specific moment.
Gotcha. Now, I want to get back to you. And you entered comedy 10 years ago. Were you still larger when you came into comedy, or had you slimmed down by that point?
So I did stand up for the first time 10 years ago. On the live, you exaggerate. I did stand up 10 years ago. I might say 10 years. The live, I'm joking around. So I did stand up 10 years ago for the first time at a class graduation. I got serious about stand up 6 years ago. Well, now it's almost 6.5. Though these quarantine months, who the hell knows how they count? But okay. So I was doing it in 2010. Then I took a break when I got married and I got into sketch and improv. And I ballooned up. I started dating my wife in 2010. I'm 200. By the time I get married, I'm 255. I started losing weight in 2013, and I lost about 30 pounds. Then I started stand-up.
You look good.
So
man.
I was 230 when I started, and I'm 160 now. So yeah, I am 70 pounds lighter than when I started stand-up.
Nice. You look great. What were you
thank
doing?
you.
What were you did you pick up a sport? Was it just strictly running at the gym, or what?
Weight loss is mostly about diet. I'm not saying don't exercise or that it couldn't help. So I went on Weight Watchers is just counting calories. You don't need to pay them. If it makes you happy to pay them, if they help you, fine. I counted calories, which I'd always done. And I lost 30, 40 pounds, gained a little back, lost 40 pounds. And then it was a yo-yo. And then in 2016, I discovered this guy, Vinny Tortorich, on Adam Carolla's podcast, which I used to listen to. And he talked about NSNG. It's like a keto type diet. no sugar, no grains. You also don't eat potatoes and a bunch of other artificial crap. And so I became more keto, and I kind of flatlined for the first. I would lose weight, but then I would have trouble for the first like 3 years. In 2019, I quit drinking. Then I stopped eating at night, and the weight started falling off. And I lost 50 pounds maybe before the quarantine, and then another 10 during the quarantine.
Dang, that's crazy. 50 pounds is a crazy, crazy feat.
It is crazy. The thing is, I've lost 50 pounds like 4 or 5 times in my life. The key is you got to gain it back. Yeah. So I hope I don't gain it back, so I won't do it again. But if you're the hero and the villain of any weight loss story,
Right.
In general, if you're me anyway, because I don't blame, like, I don't have genetics that make me overweight, or it wasn't really my parents' fault. So yeah, I'm the hero and the villain.
Okay. What do you think your Achilles heel is, man? When you regain the weight, when you regain the 50 pounds, what was your, Achilles heel? Was it just drinking? I know one of your skits you talked about
Drinking
drinking
hurts.
outs. Drinking hurts. It's super fun, but it definitely hurts you. Were you traveling too much? Were you, just making, what was it? I know for me, when I've gained weight, it's like a mixture of like stop exercising, and then I just start indulging myself. Like, I love pasta. I'll start eating pasta like 2 times a week or 3 times a week. And it's
It's
just,
addictive.
yeah, it's delicious, man. It shouldn't, it's
So
like,
calorie counting, the problem with calorie counting is it's very hard to do on vacation, and there's an on-off aspect to it. And when you go off, like, I would eat like 6,000 calories in a day, because I was trying to eat around 2,000 calories, right? If you eat around 2,000 calories, give or take, depending on you can lose weight. But on vacation, I remember trying to count, and I would eat like 6,000 easy. Because you're still allowing yourself to eat every type of food. And I'm not a moderation guy. There's moderation people and there's non-moderation people. So if I abstain from the foods that make me hungrier and that were my problem, it's much easier for me to do it than moderating. And then I'm able to just kind of keep the weight off. And I'm just way less hungry on this type of diet. It has to do with the hormones and stuff, like insulin.
definitely. I just like you, I indulge, right? Like, if there is a plate of food in front of me, I am eating that plate. Like, I don't care what's on it. Like, I have like, if there's mashed potatoes and macaroni on it, the plate's gone. Or if there's a giant salad, the plate's gone. And so that's why I think what a lot of people get too caught up in is like, oh, I'll just focus on the calories. Oh, I can have those couple cookies, or, oh, I can have the mashed potatoes as long as I watch this. And then some people don't watch it, right? Some people are like, oh, just a little more won't hurt. A little more. It's like a little more does hurt though, right? It's you're eating a half a tub of mashed potatoes. It's 500 calories. I found just like eating whole foods or just stuffing. I lost more weight when I throw 2 chicken breasts and like a side of veggies on a plate and just really stack the plate up to her, because I eat to get full. I don't necessarily always eat for the in a weird way. I don't necessarily always eat for the enjoyment. I eat for, like, I just want to fill my belly, and like that's what I'm feeling like.
That's it. So the big thing is cookies affect your hormones and basically make you hungrier. So eating 2 cookies makes you want 2 more. Now, some people are fine with it, but yeah. If I never eat a cookie, that's not that hard. Eating 1 cookie a week would be impossible. Or what? Okay. And now here's the other thing. Fat fills you up. Fat is the key to this whole thing that I'm doing. If you eat fat, you'll be less hungry. So you don't need as much chicken thighs. If you switch from chicken breast to chicken thighs, chicken fat is good for you. You've been eating that for a long time. You'll be less hungry.
Interesting. I've always done it. I've always just dropped carbs, I guess. I don't think I've ever tried just eating more fats.
And I'm not saying the stereotype with keto is that it's a plate of bacon and cheese and it's unlimited. You don't need unlimited fat, because then fat will fill you up. But so the chicken thigh and stir-fried vegetables with olive oil, that's more filling than grilled chicken breast and steamed vegetables, because you got the fat. And again, olive oil and chicken fat are not fads. They're things people have been eating for a very long time, filling them up. People ate a lot of them in the 50s. There was not the obesity problem we have today, for example.
You huge. So you like chicken thighs? There is this recipe. I don't know if you have a Instant Pot or a pressure cooker.
I'm open to getting one, but I don't right now.
There's a Caribbean jerk chicken recipe. You can look it up. Honestly, they're amazing. One of the best things I've ever owned in a lifetime because you literally just throw all the ingredients in it and just set it and it's done. You're done. There's no like, I got to flip the chicken. There's no, I got to like do this, that, and the other. It's just in there and it's so delicious. It is insanity.
We have a slow cooker, which I'm sure is in a similar genre. Now, the one thing with me is I'm lame. I'm not good with spicy. I'm sensitive, whatever. I'm not that good with spicy. And then sauces are tricky because many sauces contain sugar and carbs. So I'm the big guy. I walk into the barbecue place and I'm like, can I get the ribs without the barbecue sauce? And if they say we put them on before you come in, I walk out disgusted or order something else. But still passive aggressive. Yeah. So yeah, like barbecue sauce is the problem with barbecue because barbecue sauce, a big ingredient is sugar.
Oh yeah, and a lot of people leave out salt. People don't realize that if you like look bloated, like salt can make you look bigger than you are because it helps you retain water. So like, if you look bloated, it's probably because a lot of people have just high salt diets and it's tough. There's a lot of salt. I love you making stir fry and you're using teriyaki sauce or whatever. You know how much salt is in teriyaki sauce? It's absurd. I'm surprised people's like blood doesn't kick in.
Oh, that's a good point. So I do spices, not sauces. I would say spices are right and not so much sauces. Or if you make your own sauce, you can control what you're putting in it. But yeah, that teriyaki sauce would probably have too much sugar and carbs for me. And then, a crazy amount of salt's probably not good either. I don't worry about salt as much, but it can make you look more bloated.
What's your favorite food? What's your go-to?
So every day I have 3 eggs, MCT oil, which is a good fat. Then I fry it in olive oil and I put in broccoli and a bell pepper and onion. Now it's not that flavor. I add paprika and garlic powder and pepper. You could add whatever spices you want. You could add hot sauce, whatever. So there's a lot of fat in that meal. And that's a good percent of what I eat for the whole day because you're eating a lot of fat right away. And you're getting the vegetables. You need vegetables, even on a keto type diet, because I wasn't pooping when I wasn't getting them. Let's just put it that way. You need vegetables. They're not grains. I know if people are peeing on the stick with the ketosis, it might matter for that. But in general, you can have a little vegetables. It's all right.
Well, that's just like the fact that health has gotten to that. It's just insanity. Like peeing on a stick, right? Like it's almost a little nutty in my opinion.
That is nutty. Yeah, I never did that. Also, the calorie counting thing, your body doesn't work with calories. Your body, you put something in, it reacts to it with hormones and the digestive process and all the scientific stuff. The body's not counting calories. Calories are just kind of a somewhat arbitrary measurement. Like if you watch, do you watch baseball?
I do. I played baseball. I love baseball.
Okay, good. Pitch counts, right? Your body doesn't work based on pitch counts. It's not like a number of pitches will cause you to get injured. It's more nuanced than that. Same thing. Calories are like pitch counts. They're a way of measuring, and it tells you to maybe like slow down a little, but it's not actually how things work. It's not as nuanced as possible to get and as smart as you can get.
Definitely. Do you sports are you a huge sports fan? What's your teams, man?
Okay. So Mets,
Okay.
Jets, and Giants. I like football a lot. And they used to never be on at the same time. And now if they're on at the same time, I put one on the iPad. It is weird. I sometimes enjoy the Jets more now because I love how they lose every week. They're very consistent. We need consistency right now. Jets are so consistent. What they do is they usually score in the first drive and then not the rest of the game. That's it. They stop scoring. It's great. Very reliable. Like I get nervous that they're going to win and lose their top draft pick because they are always close to when it touches the first drive. They kick a field goal, very little scoring after that, and a nice loss.
Well, yeah. What happened? The Jets just went through the ringer this year. They started like offing anybody that was a primo talent on the team and just were like, screw it, we're just gonna suck.
They hired a very bad coach. He wasn't particularly successful since he was a coordinator in Denver, Adam Gase. Now, last year, for some reason, they had a run after they were eliminated. They won a bunch of games. They went 7-9. And it was a miracle they went 7-9. 7-9 is not good. You can't really make the playoffs unless you're 9-7 or 10-6 in general. Giants are an exception this year, but so he had a good saying. He's just a jerk to the players. He doesn't call good plays. They're no good. And then they hired this GM a few years ago, and his drafts were bad. So they have bad players. Then also what they did is their best player was the safety. What's his name? Jamal Adams, best player. They trade him after the draft for a draft pick next year. So that's zero help this year. The draft pick, they're not playing this year. They're still in college. So they traded their best player for no help this year. And then, of course, they're just losing. Their quarterback is maybe okay. He's injured half the time. And the team just, they don't have a good offensive line. They don't have good plays.
We got rid
Their
of
defense
Bell.
is spotty. Yeah.
Bell
So they just lose.
I mean, I understand the losing. I'm from Michigan, so the Lions are my.
So the Lions, I know a lot of football, I'm sorry, but only one team has existed every year there's been a Super Bowl and never made the Super Bowl. That's the Lions.
Yep.
Because the Browns, you could argue it's worse because they moved and went away for a while. But it gets confused. They became the Ravens, who won, whatever. But the Lions, every year they go out there, every year they do not make the Super Bowl. And they haven't made the championship game in quite a while, in like 20, 30 years. It might even be longer.
Yeah, it's tough being a Lions fan. I'm gonna tell you, it's not a great feeling.
Terrible season this year. I've been picking against them. I've been doing picks on the show on this app called Stereo. And the Lions, picking against the Lions has been pretty smart.
you and everyone else in America, everyone picks against the Lions these days. We just fired our head coach, though.
That's helpful.
It is, well, the problem was we had that time period where we had a super team, right? We had Calvin Johnson, arguably one of the best wide receivers to ever, play the game. We had Ndamukong Suh at nose, just going crazy on defense. And then we had Matt Stafford. We had a crazy team. We had Reggie Bush as a running back. It was insanity. And we were going 9-7, and we fired Caldwell because the thought was the fact that, like, oh, well, we should be winning Super Bowls with this team. And we fired him to have a coach come in and have his best season was like 4-10 or whatever, 4-11.
Oh, Patricia had a lot of trouble. The Calvin Johnson thing said he was so great. Now there was a year they went 0-16. This year's Jets have a worse point differential, so we're looking like we're going there. And Calvin Johnson was a rookie, and he caught a touchdown every game, a long touchdown, and he won me a fantasy championship on a team that never won anything. But he was the one bright spot, and he had a great statistical year that year. The Calvin Johnson thing is said. So I was in a comedy festival in October 2019. We took a Uber, a Lyft line, whatever. We split it with a Lions fan. And they were good early in the year. This was October 6th. And he's like, we're good. We're going to make the playoffs this year. They didn't win a game the rest of the season. I haven't gone to another comedy festival. Everything shut down. And basically, that was the moment when it seemed like I was traveling for comedy and the Lions were winning. And neither has happened since.
Dude, start traveling. Please start traveling again. I need some W's.
We need a warm state that believes in COVID, because then I would go there. But these warm states don't believe in COVID, or California believes in it, but they're no good. It stinks.
See, like I'm in San Francisco, right? So like the problem is, I think the issue becomes more of we believe in it, but there's a large part of the community that almost can't afford to believe in it in a sense, right? It's tough. One of the biggest problems, you're asking people to stay at home, order their groceries, wear a mask, get sanitizer, but that costs money. It costs money to have your groceries ordered to your door. It costs money to stay at home if your job doesn't let you stay at home. And with no governmental assistance, people are forced to go out, right? People are forced to have shitty cloth masks instead of N95s or whatever you're supposed to have. And like, it just spreads, right? It just becomes spread. And I specifically live in Oakland, and there's a Lake Merritt in the middle of the city, right? Stuff shut down, and what happened is that lake turned into almost a flea market because people need California, right? People need money to survive. Even in the worst parts of Oakland, rent is still $2,000 a month for a 500 square foot apartment.
Oh man, yeah, I'm getting better doing that. Yeah, that's because it's near Silicon Valley. It's a problem. Yeah, the other half of the puzzle, which is giving people money and masks, um, which just hasn't been done. And the states are required to balance their budget, so the states cannot have a deficit. There's our second deficit conversation. States legally no deficit. So if they're out of money, the only way to get more money is the federal government, and the federal government has been shut down. Now, you obviously can blame Trump, of course, but Mitch McConnell is the lead on it because Trump would go along with um, a COVID bill if McConnell went along with it, because Trump would do stuff that he thinks would make him popular. He doesn't really care about debts and deficits at all.
Yeah, that dude sucks. What would you do? What if you're in power right now to make decisions? What's your attack method?
Well, the thing is, other countries were giving people like $2,000 a month to stay home. So yeah, people staying home is key. And yeah, give people masks. Sure, I'm very pro mask. I always wear a mask. The thing with the mask is, I believe in the science too, but it also sends people a signal that you're taking it seriously. And a good percent of the country is not. So if someone else has a mask, that like they're not just cavalierly exposing themselves to COVID. So it's also a feeling and a communication. It's also made us more politically divided because you now know someone's politics based on if they're wearing a mask.
Yeah.
So yeah, pro mask, pro giving people money. I in general support universal health care. Let's see. Oh, okay. So some businesses can't operate. You got to bail them out. The
Right.
arts, the bars. We love these businesses. Yeah. Yeah. Any business closing is a tragedy if they were not going to close other than COVID.
Right. Well, a lot of
And
businesses shut down
yeah,
in New York, right? Like a lot of them on the strips and
we've
stuff.
lost two comedy venues. The Creek and the Cave, which was an institution in the alt scene, beloved, helped grow a lot of comics. When you would go there, you'd see pictures on the wall. Every famous comic dropped in at some point. We also lost Dangerfields, which was not a top club, but still was providing some income to some comics. Um, and what? In general, yeah, it's just like in the bar and restaurant industry has been bad. I don't know. I don't know what else is going to shut down. Because right now we're looking at this winter of no revenue and no government assistance. The PUA was helping. That was
Yeah.
$600 a week. That was the equivalent of $2,000 a month, actually more, if
Right.
you were unemployed. And the PUA got shut down in the end of July. No money's come in. Maybe Trump. I think Trump gave us like $900 at one point, but not nothing big. And people just don't have money. People having to leave New York, and it's really tough. And yeah, just in general, businesses and the arts and bars and any business that can't operate needs a bailout because it's for our safety. It's a public health safety thing.
Yeah. It's yeah, I just don't understand why they I think a lot of it has to do with reappropriation of funds. So like I think a lot of our funds are just misspent. In my opinion, like look at something like the Pentagon spends $2 billion a day. Why does the Pentagon need to spend $2 billion a day? You know what I mean?
What day? So I think you should read. People, I recommend this book to people. It's called "Whistleblowers in the Age of." Damn it. Okay. Well, anyway, "Whistleblowers in the Age of." It'll come up. I listened to the audiobook, and it talks about government waste and the anti-whistleblower culture in government. And there's just so much waste going on. And this is also in Democratic things, administrations. And there's people who go back and forth, private sector, government. So they're loyal to the private sector. And since Reagan, it's been a pro-contractor government. So the government work is done by private sector companies who have incentive to take as much money as possible. And there's huge amounts of waste. It's a lot of structural flaws.
Where do you
And that would be one way of saving money.
have you seen Snowden? You watch Snowden?
I'm gonna watch with the wife. We keep forgetting. What are we watching now? Maybe we'll start watching it actually, because the last show we tried to watch she didn't like. We had to finish Queen's Gambit. Queen's Gambit was great.
How'd
But I
you
want
like?
to watch Snowden. I'm a big
I've
Snowden
heard
fan,
great things.
and he is one of the government whistleblowers. They mentioned him in the book. I've also read his book, which was awesome.
Okay, yeah. See, like I've heard mixed reviews about the Queen's Game. I've heard great things from like a lot of people, but then I've heard like
Nerds.
from close people, I've heard like they didn't like it. So like I don't know if I'll ever watch that one, but Snowden was great. It's a great movie. Honestly, when I was done with it, I almost was like, okay, I want to go back to a flip phone. I don't want to have a laptop anymore because it was insane. It was like government was literally hacking into webcams and just watching citizens.
Oh yeah, it's all very scary. Um, the one thing with Snowden is it's good as a movie because his documentary was really boring. His story's not. The problem is it's not like fun.
It's not
He
exciting.
stole a bunch of papers and told us that a bunch of boring things were really bad, and
Yeah.
it's really important. But they need to dramatize it a little bit.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's
This
not exciting. There's no like mass chase. There's no grenades. There's no like someone trying to kill him. It's like he looked around in an office and was like, all right, this needs to be, people need to know about this. And then like
I, yeah.
that's he
I
actually.
want to see a movie. Sorry, about Snowden's wife, because here's what happened. He leaves. He doesn't tell her anything, so she can't be caught. So she finds out like we did. And then you know what she eventually does? Because once he's settled in Russia, he's able to talk to her on
Yeah.
Skype or whatever. She moved to Russia to be with him, and they're married now. That's an amazing story. That's the movie. That's the sexy Snowden story that will be with us.
That's almost like oh, that's a way better. That's like some Notebook shit. You ever seen the Notebook?
That will get women and people who aren't nerds into this story. We need the Snowden wife movie. Jennifer Lawrence. Oh man, yeah, I'm gonna call her. Yeah, Jennifer Lawrence, but I think she's blonde. Or whatever. Jennifer Lawrence complaining. I think Jennifer Lawrence playing Snowden's wife. Um, that will do it. That will get everyone into the Snowden thing.
Oh yeah, she would do great at it. I think it would be. I think you're onto something. You're pitching right now to Warner's Brothers. I'll take you on. I'll take. I'll let
She
you
needs
direct.
another Oscar. Oh,
Yeah, she's a great actress. She's actually doing some film right now. You ever tried so you done improv and I guess it's like a form. You ever tried acting? You ever
I act in sketches. I'm working on a sketch series now. In that we have scripts, but we haven't started shooting, so we can't like promo it. Yeah, I'll do acting. I want to act. I realize I would need more training, just like a gun. You need some training. I have a tiny bit, but yeah, I need more. But if I could play someone kind of similar to me, I'm down to do it. I'm not going on auditions and stuff because I haven't really learned how to do that, and it's not like something I'm that excited about. Unless someone wants me to audition for something that I'm in. But yeah, I'm focused more on writing and putting content out and stand up. But I think I'll be acting, and I want to act, especially in stuff that I write or that people have me in mind for.
okay, so you write. What's your writing process like? What's your zone? You know, where do you find a zen place? Is it better if like something crazy happened to you and then you write some stuff down, or you just like notes on the phone guy? How do you go about it?
Something crazy happens, I email to myself. Emailing is good because there's a backup. AOL has all my jokes backed up yet. The NSA has my jokes. That's where you're using the NSA for good. If you email it yourself, there's backups, there's redundancy. That's good. That's why we have two kidneys. Two copies of my jokes exist. I've been tweeting now. I use Twitter as my writing process to open mic, and then my tweets get deleted after a month. It shows to almost nobody. Whatever. I just tweet, and then the good tweets I put on Instagram, and the good Instagrams I make TikToks of. Because right now the stage is social media. I'll do
Yeah.
some Zoom stand up. I have a Zoom headline show every month. Actually, yeah, check my website for that. But the stage is social media. You're building your fans, and then when you can go in person, you'll do it. But in person, like outdoor shows or Zoom shows, are just a supplement. They're not the main stage right now. Is what I would tell people. And also, when I say social media, that could include anything like YouTube or Twitch or whatever you're doing.
Yeah, and like we were talking earlier, the most difficult, do you find it, back to the difficulty on Zoom, you have anyone in there responding, right? So how's that, you flow on that? How's that kind of go?
The flow is different. I would say in general, if someone's trolling you and anything on internet, just kick them out. We're here to tell jokes. I'm here to tell jokes. People who enjoy them. If someone wants to fight with you, you're better off kind of just getting rid of them. Ideally, don't get angry, but you know it happens.
Have you had any what's your worst comment? TikTok, everyone can leave comments. What's your You have any?
TikTok, there's an anti-Semitism problem. Now, I always report them. I don't know if they're being removed. They don't tell
Yeah.
you if they remove them. You know, if you're popular enough on the internet, the anti-Semites come out. It's not really affecting my life, but they do come out. Also, people just hate. People say not funny. That always hurts. I block them. If you say not funny, you're blocked. Because the only point of social media is to reach people who find you funny.
Right.
You're not going to prove it to them. Also, the person who says not funny, they don't follow you.
Right.
They don't like your videos. They're not providing you any value. They have almost no standing. If someone who follows you or maybe supports you in some way says they didn't like a certain video, maybe listen to that. That's legit feedback. But people who don't follow you don't really have standing to insult you.
Well, yeah. What are they
What
getting
they
out
should
of
just do is just insult you privately.
They're
I'm sorry.
not, you're doing yours and you're trying to reach your market, and like you tell me I'm not funny. Well, okay, maybe you just don't like me. These 40,000, what you got 40,000 followers, 40,000 other people do like me. So you
Exactly.
cannot watch my videos. Like you have, but like people like go out and seek like people they don't like just so they can talk about how they don't like them.
That's interesting. Well, if they're paying, see,
Yeah.
if you're a paying customer, it's a little different. Now, maybe you only do something desperate. Once you get bigger, I won't care if they're paying a couple bucks, but you know, and they're still a hater, I'll still want to kick them out. But at least you're paying. When you're watching them on the internet, you're not doing anything. Now, one thing is, if you're too pleasing with the comments, any comment is helpful to your traction. So if it doesn't upset you too much, you might just leave it or ignore it or like make fun of them. Like someone will say like, you're ugly. And then I'm like, you don't have a profile picture. You know, like that. Like, so yeah, like you're not showing your face.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. And you're ugly. And it's got a little avatar in there, like a little blank smiley face or something.
Yeah, exactly. Or like you're not doing well and they have like 3 followers. Half these people don't post any content. Like if you're not posting content, then like why are you judging my content? You're not a creator, you're just here to watch.
Right. Where do you now with, everything being reliant on social and you're doing these Zoom shows, where do you see your future heading? What are you going to keep pushing for that blue check mark on TikTok? Like where I guess where are you trying to focus now? Do you like doing your little excerpts? Or are you trying to get back into doing more Zoom shows and then right back on the
Getting back to Zoom because there's not that much live comedy. So Zoom's a good place to check stuff out. Like, I mean, try out your material, keep in shape with stand up, especially also with the Zoom headlining shows. People from TikTok want to see me, and this is the way to see me. So they're willing to pay like the $5. So it's become a source of revenue too. So yeah, definitely doing Zoom. In like within 6 months, I'm hoping to have gotten the vaccine. So then when it's warmer, I'm hoping to do lots of live stand-up that, that where people are safe and have the vaccine or it's outdoor or whatever. I'm also working on I'm getting a computer. I'm working on like YouTube content and maybe Twitch streaming, radio podcast type stuff like the Stereo app or maybe having a podcast. So more electronic content. But in the long run, yeah, I'll be back to doing live stuff. But I expect to during the day be producing content for the internet and then just doing stand-up at night. Because I think every stand-up should be producing content for the internet. And some of it will come from videos from sets, but that's harder to control and a much slower flow.
right.
So you want to be able to make stuff at home. That's why like TikTok, my TikTok's very self-sufficient. I make the video myself, I post it, it's quick, you can keep doing it. It's important to have a pipeline like that. And you gain fans so much more quicker than you do in live shows.
Okay. So your goal is to get back on the wagon, get back going for live shows. I like that. I do think a lot of people, I respect the tenacity you have, and a lot of people don't in those areas aren't willing to be like, okay, well, I can't do a lot of people I can't do live shows. I guess I just sit here and like don't do anything, right? And you're finding a way, and like that's great.
People have said stuff like, well, I didn't have anything to do, so I watched this TV show, or I got in great shape. What do you mean to do? TikTok is such a gift to us because I had no followers and it showed my video to 1 million people. That's insane. And if TikTok's not good for you, there's a million apps. You can gain fans on all these things. If you're funny, you're funny. Just practice and figure out a way to do it on the internet. They're showing that it's such a tool we have. If the pandemic happened 5 years earlier, we wouldn't have had this stuff. If you're funny, you gotta keep going. This isn't a vacation. Now, if some people are writing scripts or stand up and whatever, they're being productive in a less public way. That's fine. But the idea that the pandemic after the first 2 weeks is a vacation in such a hard business like stand up, and we have such limited time where we're young enough or whatever.
Right.
I mean, I'm already old, but um, it's really a huge mistake, and it sort of reflects on people's belief in themselves or their work ethic. It's a bit questionable if people have been doing any comedy related stuff during this whole quarantine. It does reflect, and if they're listening, I'm sorry to say that, but I mean it.
Not call them out. Some people work harder. Some people got to work harder. What are you gonna get that merch going? I know you talked on your live last night about getting some merch. You getting
So a guy offered to design it and produce it, and he's just taking a commission, because the big thing is you often have to put up money for the designer. So I'm working on. I need a good idea. Maybe I'll brainstorm in the lives. I want to think of a joke and reference a joke, but something has to be unique and interesting.
yeah.
I don't want some crap. I've seen a lot of people. There's Cumtown. You know what about Cumtown?
No, I don't.
It's a very popular podcast. They monetize their Patreon. They have a logo where like the words Cumtown seem to be dripping in some kind of fluid. I can't tell what fluid it is. And I see people doing like very similar merch to that.
Right.
I'm not doing generic merch just so you can give me money. It's got to be something interesting. So I got to kind of figure it out. But this is good. The whole issue was I thought about doing it in the summer, but I wanted a really nice logo, and the guy wanted to charge some money.
Right.
And I just never got it together. And I was worried that if I paid too much up front, I would lose money on it.
Yeah.
In merch that you lose money on, not really the point of merch. You'd be better off waiting. The Zoom show has been great. If there's any comics listening, because with this company Bonfire, there's no overhead. They're putting all the overhead. And even if you only sell a couple tickets, you're making something. Though ideally, you can't lose money, but you're ideally trying to get to at least 10 tickets. I've been able to get to a little more than that, which has been great. But yeah, the stuff like that is a really good way to monetize social media, and it's a good way to stay in shape with stand-up, doing these Zoom shows. And I've been doing like the whole show myself, but you can have other people on the show.
Okay. See, I didn't know about that. Someone like me, I write stand up in my free time, right? It's just something that like I just wanted to try. And so I think that's also a cool opportunity for people right now. I think now's the best time to discover, maybe what a passion or what you really like for a lot of people, right? I think it's, you said it's nothing up front, right? So if you've ever wanted to try and do stand up, like, there's your shot, right? There's like, get up there, get on Zoom, do it, and see what happens.
So most comics just violently discourage anyone from starting. I'm the opposite. If you're willing to do it every day, you're in. Because what makes someone the funniest stand-up is letting everyone in, and then you just beat them or whatever, or you outwork them, or you're funny or whatever. So yes, you should start doing Zoom mics. Find out the Zoom mics, Google them, whatever, look on Instagram. They're not hard to find. And start doing Zoom mics and see if you got the chops. And also just, if you think your bit is funny, make a video of it and put it on TikTok. And you can always take it down. You can even make a fake account or whatever, Instead of Curtis, it could be Chris Stein. Yeah, you fake that you're Jewish. That'll help. Yeah. Just a bit, yeah. Chris Stein's TikToks. Yeah. So, you can put your stuff out on the internet, but yeah, get the reps on the Zoom mics and it's open. Yeah.
Definitely. So I might, man, you might see me. I'll at you if I post a video of me doing my stand-up gig, and you can comment. You can be like all the rest of the people, you fucking suck.
Oh yeah, please. The one thing is, if you get hate, the video did well. The way the internet works is if by definition, success is how many people see it. If no one sees it, the haters don't see it. The haters only see the popular videos. So you'll be told you're not funny only on the videos that succeed. I want to actually make it. I think it's called the Goldstein principle of social media. I'm not sure if anyone else has thought of that. But yeah, the Goldstein principle is that the videos that get hate are the successful videos.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's kind of like the whole Trump campaign was based off any publicity is good publicity, right? It's kind of like
Exactly.
anything. Uh, so you know, what is the craziest thing you've ever done, Freddie G?
Oh, in general.
Yeah, in general, you can do whatever you want to share.
Oh, sure. Okay. Oh, yeah, I got it. So when I was like 25, we smoked weed. We were drinking. I never really smoked weed without drinking. I mean, except since I quit drinking. And someone had Vicodin, and I took a little bit of Vicodin, and then I put some in the weed and smoked it, and I got like crazy high. And then I went into karaoke, and was just crazy and singing. And one of my friend's friend was at karaoke, and that was how I met my wife. We didn't get together for a couple of years, but I met my wife the one time I ever did Vicodin.
What a start to a relationship, you know?
Yeah. So that was like 08, and we got together at the beginning of 2010. So it definitely, I didn't ask her out then or whatever. But that is how I met her.
How's marriage?
High on Vicodin, doing karaoke. So yeah, if you get high on Vicodin, I don't recommend it, but then go do karaoke. Yeah, the karaoke business needs to be propped up as well. Now, is there electronic karaoke? Karaoke should be remote.
100%.
Remote karaoke makes complete sense. Hopefully someone's doing it. I just don't know about it. But yeah, we should all just be doing remote karaoke constantly till this thing is over.
Well, there's an app idea. Just have like a meeting place where people can go up and like get up next in rooms, wherever you want to go to a room with all your friends or something like that. Or you could even do like the city of Oakland. There's a room, or we're gonna have karaoke in this room, and you can get up and sing. That'd be great.
I call it karaoke meets modern.
Yeah, that'd be great. Oh, how's marriage treating you? How do you like being married?
It's good. If you can quarantine with them, you're good. Yeah. She's great, very supportive. Obviously when we got together, I was in finance and she supported everything. She even inspired me because she, at different points, has left day jobs to become a full-time stage manager, which she was killing it at until she lost 5 months of work right away. And there's a story about how tough things were for us early that like I said, I told in this storytelling podcast that's coming out January 25th, Story Collider. If you follow me on any of my social media, I'll be plugging it constantly.
Okay, gotcha. All right, Freddie G. If there's one thing you could tell people that you think makes them more of a modern man, what is it?
When new stuff comes out, it doesn't matter how old you are. You can learn it. Like TikTok. It's popular because it's very easy to use. These kids aren't smart with technology. They're just willing to try stuff. So be willing to try new things. Doesn't matter how old you are. Maybe try it privately. Keep the stakes low. Don't start dancing like Charlie DeMello and posting it. But just try new things. That will make you a modern man.
Okay. And where can people find you, Freddie G?
So at Orange, obviously the color Orange Freddy G, and Freddy with 2 D's and a Y. So Orange Freddy G. TikTok I'm most popular, but also Instagram, Twitter, and those link to my YouTube. We can find me on YouTube. They do short videos on YouTube. So I'm posting a lot of those. And it's giving me some traction. So I'm getting into YouTube. So check me out there. And like I said on the website, there's tickets to Zoom shows and stuff like that.
Subscribe. Don't forget, subscribers are important on YouTube. That's how you monetize.
Very important. Yeah, I'm up to 300. I'm trying to get to 1,000 in the near future, but it's a long road.
Definitely. Well, hey, I appreciate it so much for you coming on the cast and speaking with me today, and sharing your time with me.
Oh, thanks so much. This was really great. Yeah. Thanks for asking me.
Thanks.
It's a great fucking day.